The word persistence is quite familiar, even though not many people appreciate it. Yet, it is necessary when it comes to success in education, business, family, and every other facet of life. Persistence actually means the courage to continue trying or doing something even when there isn't any chance of success, and even when the effort required seems too great. You may never understand persistence until you come face to face with a seemingly difficult task that defies efforts. In describing the long delays that accompany the church's long struggle to get the Bible in their language, Bishop Semi Nigo of the Keliko people of South Sudan, in his words, explained that time went by, war came in. Before this time, not one word had ever been printed in the Keliko language. Decades earlier, Bishop Nigo's grandfather had courageously started a Bible translation project, but war and unrest kept interrupting the effort. Unfazed by the repeated attacks on their refugee camps in northern Uganda and Democratic Republic of Congo, the bishop and the other Christian brethren kept the project alive. After nearly 3 decades, the New Testament Bible in Keliko was finally delivered to the refugees in the midst of rousing cheers and celebration. You can say that their persistence paid off. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence, says Calvin Coolidge. Persistence remains one of the greatest forces on earth. One man whose story readily stands out when we talk about persistence is Abraham Lincoln. Till today, Abe, as he is fondly called, remains one of the greatest American presidents in history. In 1831, he failed in business. He was defeated for state legislator in 1832. He tried another business in 1833, and it was a complete flop. His fiancée died in 1835. He had a nervous breakdown in 1836. In 1843, he ran for Congress and was defeated. He tried again in 1848 and was defeated again. He tried running for the Senate in 1855. He lost. The next year, he ran for vice president and lost. In 1859, he ran for the Senate again and was defeated. Imagine if your biography read like that. But that's the story of one of America's most influential presidents. His diligence and persistence in leadership oversaw the nation through a tumultuous period in its history, the Civil War. Even in the darkest days of the war, Lincoln never lost hope and never gave up. He is credited in history for saving the United States as one nation during this period. In the face of anger, defeat, and disappointment, it is quite easy to throw in the towel. But the person who makes it to the end is the one who keeps on going long after every other person has given up. What many people do not know is that persistence is much more important than connection, intelligence, and pedigree when it comes to success. Even though we are certain of achieving our goals in life, no one ever promised us that we will achieve them in our first attempt. So, a repeated effort, as grueling as it may appear, is usually a way of getting us skilled in whatever we are trying to do. When you try to do something 100 times and it fails to work, you really did not fail. You only discovered several ways that do not work. When next you are asked to do the same thing, you will do it with ease, excellence, and perfection. What perseverance has done for you is to help you build a skill with precision that can never be taken away from you. Persistence means you really believe in what you are pursuing. You can tell the difference from two people who set out to achieve the same thing by the way they both go after something. Anyone who is serious about achieving a goal will never get discouraged, even when all the odds are stacked against him or her. The mean judge in Luke chapter 8 saw the persistence of the widow and was left with no choice but to give in to her demands. Have you ever imagined what would have happened to this poor widow if she had just folded her hands at the first or third instance that she failed to have an audience with the judge? Persistence is the force that ensures that justice that is delayed is not denied. Persistence pays off, not only for you, but for others too. You never can tell how many people draw strength from your persistence. Some people keep going because they have seen that you are not holding back or giving up. Your persistence is the only motivation someone out there needs to be successful. Thinking of giving up is only a selfish thought. You need to consider others who draw strength and inspiration from you. If you are a parent, for instance, what do you think will happen to members of your immediate family if you decide that you are tired of living and opt for suicide? Your selfish action will leave behind a widow and orphans. There is a race marked out for every one of us. The distance between where we are right now and the finish line can only be covered by persistence. The Bible tells us so in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, who by faith have testified to the truth of God's absolute faithfulness, stripping off every unnecessary weight and the sin which so easily and cleverly entangles us, let us run with endurance and active persistence the race that is set before us. You need to check yourself right now and see what are the unnecessary weights and sins in your life that need to be put aside so that you can run the full length of the course that has been marked out for you. If you fail to run your race because of how difficult and distant it appears, you may deny your generation the blessings attached to your existence. Just imagine if Abraham Lincoln did not persevere all of the trials in his life to become president in 1860. America may never have survived the Civil War as a United States. Before you give up today, think of all that could go wrong. Think of the life that will be destroyed. Think of the destinies that will be aborted. Indeed, persistence pays off.